Authorised push payment fraud has been growing in popularity as criminals have now found another way to manipulate their victims into handing over sensitive information, in the hopes to stealing their money. But what is authorised push payment fraud? And how do criminals commit authorised push payment fraud? In today's video, we will be taking a look at what is authorised push payment fraud, how criminals commit authorised push payment fraud, and ways to protect yourself from authorised push payment fraud. Hello and welcome to another KYC Lookup video where we bring you AML related content to help you enhance your knowledge in the fight against money laundering. Before diving into today's video, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future videos. Oh, and don't forget to leave us a comment with any suggested topics you would like us to cover in the future. So, on to today's video. What is authorised push payment fraud? Authorised push payment (APP) fraud is a type of scam in which a fraudster tricks a victim into authorising the transfer of money from their bank account to the scammer's account. APP fraud is also known as bank transfer fraud or authorised bank transfer fraud. Why would someone commit authorised push payment fraud? There are many reasons why someone might commit authorised push payment fraud. In general, fraudsters commit this type of fraud because it is a relatively easy way to obtain money without having to resort to physical theft or other criminal activities. Here are some possible motivations for committing APP fraud. Financial gain. The most common reason for committing APP fraud is financial gain. Fraudsters may target vulnerable individuals, such as elderly or those in financial distress, and pursue them to transfer money to the fraudster's account. The fraudster may also pose as a legitimate business or government agency to obtain payments from unsuspecting victims. Cybercrime. APP fraud is often carried out by cybercriminals who use sophisticated techniques to gain access to victims' online banking or email accounts. These criminals may use malware, phishing emails, or other tactics to steal login credentials or personal information that they can use to commit APP fraud. Revenge or blackmail. In some cases, APP fraud may be committed as an act of revenge or blackmail. For example, a disgruntled employee may use their knowledge of a company's financial systems to transfer money out of the business account. Alternatively, a fraudster may threaten to release embarrassing or sensitive information unless a victim transfers money to them. Organised crime. APP fraud may also be carried out by an organised crime group. These groups may use a network of individuals to carry out the fraud, making it more difficult for law enforcement to identify and prosecute these perpetrators. Overall, the motivations for committing APP fraud are varied and complex. However, it is important to remember that this type of fraud is a serious crime that can have devastating consequences for victims. How do criminals conduct authorised push payment fraud? Criminals use a variety of tactics to conduct authorised push payment (APP) fraud, which involves tricking a victim into authorising the transfer of money from their bank account to the fraudster's account. Here are some of the most common techniques used by fraudsters. Social engineering. APP fraud often involves social engineering tactics, which involve using psychological manipulation to gain the victim's trust and persuade them to transfer money. Fraudsters may pose as a trusted person or organisation, such as a bank or government agency, and use urgent or threatening language to pressure the victim into transferring money. Phishing emails. Fraudsters may also use phishing emails to trick victims into providing their bank account details or authorising a payment. Phishing emails often look like legitimate emails from a bank or other trusted organisation, but contain links to fake websites or malware that they can steal login credentials and other personal information. Phone scams. Another common tactic used in APP fraud is phone scams, where fraudsters call victims and pretend to be from their bank or other trusted organisations. They may use a variety of techniques, such as pretending that there has been a security breach on the victim's account or offering a refund or compensation. Smishing. Smishing involves sending text messages that appear to be from a legitimate source, such as a bank or other financial institution. The message may contain a link to a fake website that asks the victim to provide their login credentials or other personal information. And fake invoices. Fraudsters may also use fake invoices or payment requests to trick victims into transferring money. These may look like legitimate requests from a supplier or service provider, but actually direct the payment to the fraudster's account. How much money is lost to authorised push payment fraud? The amount of money lost to authorised push payment APP fraud in the UK has been increasing in recent years. According to UK Finance, the trade association for the UK banking and financial services sector, a total of £479 million, which is $594 million, was lost to APP fraud in 2020. This represents an increase of 5% compared to the previous year, despite efforts by banks and law enforcement to tackle the problem. The average loss per victim of APP fraud was £8,425. That's $10,000 in 2020, although some victims lost significantly larger sums. In some cases, individuals have lost their life savings or been left in financial ruin as a result of this type of fraud. APP fraud is a particular concern for individuals and businesses that make frequent payments or transfers, such as those in the property or construction industry. However, anyone can be a target of this type of fraud, and fraudsters use a variety of tactics to trick victims into transferring money. The UK government and banking sector have introduced a number of measures to try and reduce the incidence of APP fraud, including improved fraud detection systems, increased public awareness campaigns, and industry-wide standards for reimbursement of victims to fraud. However, as fraudsters continue to adapt and evolve their tactics, it remains an ongoing challenge to prevent and mitigate the impact of APP fraud. Ways to protect yourself from authorised push payment fraud. There are several ways to protect yourself from authorised push payment APP fraud, which involves tricking a victim into authorising a transfer of money from their bank account to the fraudster's account. Here are some tips to help you avoid falling victim to this type of fraud. Be cautious of unsolicited requests for money. If you receive an unexpected request for money or personal information, especially if it comes via email, phone, or text message, be wary. Take the time to verify the request before responding, and never provide personal information or transfer money without being sure of the legitimacy of the request. Verify the identity of the requester. If you receive a request for money or personal information from someone claiming to be from a legitimate organisation, such as a bank or government agency, take steps to verify their identity. Check the phone number or email address against the official contact details of the organisation, and be wary of any requests that seem unusual or urgent. Use strong passwords and two-factor authentication. Ensure that you use strong, unique passwords for your online accounts and enable two-factor authentication where possible. This will make it more difficult for fraudsters to access your account and steal your personal information. Keep your software and security up to date. Regularly update your computer and mobile device software, including antivirus and anti-malware software, to protect against the latest threats. Report any unsuspected fraud. If you suspect that you have been a victim of APP fraud, report it to your bank and to the relevant authorities as soon as possible. Early reporting can help you limit the impact of the fraud and increase the chances of recovering any lost funds. And be aware of the latest scams. Stay informed about the latest APP fraud tactics and scams by following news reports and advice from your bank and other trusted sources. By following these tips, you can help to protect yourself from the growing threat of authorised push payment fraud. Well, there you have it. What is authorised push payment fraud? How criminals commit authorised push payment fraud? And ways to protect yourself from authorised push payment fraud. Please let us know in the comments section what you think about authorised push payment fraud and any other topics you would like us to cover in the future. We have now launched our very own courses for you to take a more in-depth look at a variety of subjects, such as Introduction to AML, Beneficial Ownership, and Customer Risk Rating, for example. So make sure you visit our website for further details and let us help you connect the dots in KYC. Thank you for watching the video, and if you made it this far, don't forget to like and subscribe to watch more amazing videos.